It's in about the right spot. Now we want it to drop there. If you had a grease pencil, it's actually easier. Like there's a tool called grease pencil, but this still works. So what I've just done, I've just marked where that thing's going to go, and there. Now I can really kind of figure out where my arc is supposed to be. Pencil 2. Then if this backs up. Okay, so I can see this now, and I can see that the arc is really quite steep. That's way too steep. So I have to go back to 5. I have to move it over, probably about, maybe, come over a little bit more. A little bit more. There. So that would be a nicer, smoother path there. And then once it collides, I know I want it to hit there. We've got the same kind of question here. We basically have to decide, is it going to hit the wall before it reaches the top of its arc, or is it going to just kind of kiss that, like as it reaches the top of its arc? I think it's going to have so much energy that it's going to hit that wall as if it wanted to keep going. So it's going to be a true impact and a true deflection off of that wall. Now remember, it has a certain speed as it's coming down from here, but by getting hit by the bowling ball, it's actually gaining energy because that object is so massive. So it's going to completely change the amount of time that it will take to go from one place to the other because it'll have so much more energy. So what I really need to decide is how far away do I go after that first impact. And I'm going to back him off a little bit because this is just one frame. So I want it to be energetic, but not like crazy. Boom. Okay, and then I don't know if 3 frames is really the right amount to get up there. But then it's going to deflect back down. And it may not be able to hit this wall. But whatever, we'll figure that out. Let's give it a few more frames. So now we're going to adjust the timing. We're going to see if we can make the timing work a little bit better here. So 3 frames up, but then remember, when it's coming up, it's starting from here, so it's already part way off the ground. So it's going to take actually longer to go down than it did to come up. So I'll call it 4 or 5 frames. Let's make it 5 frames and see if that works. And then it goes there. That's maybe 2 frames might work for that. But then to go back up to the top of its arc here, I'm thinking 4 frames. No, maybe 3 frames. 3 frames up, 3 frames down. Let's try that. 3 frames up, 3 frames down. That's probably too little. 4 frames up, 4 frames down. Now remember, it took only 8 frames to drop from here to here. So to say that this takes 4 frames up and down, I might be off. And then this next bounce, I'm definitely off because I had it go way too high. Well, it depends how much energy it loses, but I was thinking it was too high. So let's go 3 frames up and 3 frames down on this one. And then it'll just stop just because we run out of time. So how does this look? Okay, this looks crazy fast. Right, so, you know, it's too fast. Fine, we can fix that. Let's get in there. It needs more time. So we just get in here and we add more time. Make that 4 frames. Make that 6 frames. So 4 frames up, 6 frames down. Maybe that, I still think that would be okay with just 2 frames. Let's make this 5 frames up, 5 frames down, 4 frames up, 4 frames down. Okay, now this is obviously just very rough as well because we're really not feeling that impact up there yet. This initial impact is, I don't know, that's a weird one. I think we'll have to adjust our spacing on that. I think our spacing is quite even through there. And that's probably making it feel strange. So let's take a look at what's going on. Okay, and you can see here in our graph of our y direction, that's our up and down, right? You can see that the tennis ball is behaving a little bit unusually. So remember, we want these to all be parabolas. So you're going to round off the tops. Where's my, hold on, there it is. So I flatten the top there so that it starts slow and then speeds up. You know, at halftime we're supposed to be 25% of the distance to the ground. Right, okay. It gets interrupted before it hits the ground. That's why it looks different here. So there we go. We just have it continue to gain speed as it's going down here. That's where it reaches its collision point. So then it ricochets off. So we have a nice sharp change in direction there. And it does eventually reach the top where it ricochets again. But you know what's happening? Remember I said that we wanted this one to feel like it was going to continue on? Well, what ended up happening here is I rounded off the top, so instead it feels like it's slowing down. So that's not what we want. If we're going to get what I described, what happened here? How did that change? Well, anyway, if we're going to get what I described, what we needed to do was to move this key point down, break these tangents, do this, squeeze in there, this is the ricochet, go up here, we got to get rid of that. This is going to be, maybe it slows down a little bit, but it's not going to slow down as much as we had it with the parabola. Okay, so that would make it feel like it was continuing on. We're going to make that a sharp change in direction again. And we definitely do not want it to slow down as it gets closer to the ground. Again, what we want it to do here is to actually accelerate. We want that slope to become even steeper than it already is as it's coming down. And if I can grab that, let's do this. Let's do this again. So I'm going to keep a little bit of control over that. Okay, so this will be a tiny bit of an acceleration downward. It's about the best I can do just by manipulating the curves. And then, again, this is just the up and down part of this. So it's going to, what I want it to do is ricochet off this wall, then hit that ground there. So again, I'm going to just make this flat, crank that up once again so that it's got that slope. Okay, so once it ricochets off, now we're finally getting to like our first normal parabola, or what I would call our normal parabola. We can go ahead and shrink these, and just make these into